So that was a fucking lie.
Oh my god, it's been a whole month. I'm so fucking sorry, everyone. I really didn't want it to extend to this time, but I have been trying to do some personal things which ran into video editing time. But in any case, I have a banger for you guys today. So most of you know that I am a Shinobi Striker player, but recently a new game came out and I'm just enjoying the hell out of it. So I wanted to show you guys basically how my Shinobi Striker quote-unquote skills went over to this game, because it takes a very similar approach to the gameplay of Shinobi Striker. It's none other than Crash Team Rumble. Now don't get me wrong, when I first came into this game I thought this was going to be like a foreign world, but I actually got used to the controls pretty quickly. I even did change the button input, which I never have done on Shinobi Striker. An interesting place of one of the buttons was R2, and I guess this is quote unquote the heavy attack, you could say. Now I placed that on the triangle. Can you guess why? Well, yeah, it's pretty much that reason, because the heavy attack is normally triangle for Shinobi Striker, so I kind of wanted to have a similar button input to Shinobi Striker. Not only that, but I'm not a new Crash Bandicoot fan, I'm an old gen fan from Crash War for Cortex and Twinsanity. A lot of the moves back then, they were on the same button, and you can't do that here, so I had to maneuver and put like the slams and stuff on triangle. So anyway, for the game itself, it's a 4v4 strategic game. There's currently 3 role types: the scorer, the blocker, and the booster. The object of the game is to gather as much Wumpa as you can to reach the goal of 2000 Wumpa, which is these fruit. The scorers, which is consisted of currently Crash, Torna, and Catbat. These characters are the ones that will most likely go get the Wumpa and deposit them into their base. Then you have the blockers, which will block you from preventing to deposit those Wumpas into the base, which is Dingodile, Entropy, and Embryo. And then you have the boosters, which tend to go for the gem pads, and collecting these and keeping these will give your team a boost. And this consists of Coco and Cortex. Obviously everyone's playstyle is different. When I first started the game, I mained Crash, but I wasn't doing my role in that sense. Don't get me wrong, Crash is a good character, but he isn't what I was playing him as. He's more of a gatherer than a blocker. So I went to have a look and looked at what blockers would suit me, and I guess Entropy was the best for me. I also prefer playing tank overall within these type of games. It's quite more fun. It's more exhilarating for me personally. I like to go for kills and stuff like that, and some people would be complaining that the entropies be following them. I kind of do that, I'm not gonna lie. I just try to make sure that I don't care if they have any Wumpa or not. I just wanna, I'm kind of kill hungry, let's just say. When I first picked up Entropy, she was really slow, but then I learned about her normal attacks, which is like square, 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 and that's it. She moved forward faster. And I was like, this is why I always start off, if you ever see me play on Twitch or whatever, I always press square so heavily at the start, and I always will press square because she always goes faster that way. I also learned some other things whilst I was playing Entropy, and I have max level in Entropy now, and I'm almost level 100 on the battle pass, I guess you could say. I've played all the characters, and I think Entropy is probably just going to stay as my main, because she has a moveset that is very unique to the other characters, and I feel like it's not like addressed enough, and I feel like people are underestimating what Entropy can do. When you like quote unquote run normally with Entropy, she kind of just is really slow. That's what I'm trying to say. She's really slow. But when you start to learn her as a character, she is so fast. She's really, really fast. Other than that, I think Coco and Crash are kind of similar with speed. They are quite fast when you learn their stuff and cancel their stuff out. They are quite fast, but movement isn't always everything in this game, unlike Shinobi Striker where the maps are kind of big. Here the maps are like very, very small, and it's kind of like mirrored, so each side have a mirrored part, which is exactly the same. I think movement would only matter if for the gem pads as well as blocking if you're a blocker, blocking their bases from depositing the Wumpas. So movement isn't a priority, so what is exactly a priority in my head when I'm playing this game? Well, it's mostly just timing and just looking around the map and see if people is on the enemy base or something like that. If you're playing a blocker like me, you need to look at who's on the base and try to prevent them from depositing their Wumpas. Remember how I mentioned sensory information is important in strikers? I think it's kind of important here, though I haven't really used that much. I think it's more along the lines because the attacks kind of show an AoE symbol. So like, such as example, when a cat bat does his dive, the radius comes on the floor, and it's like, okay, I can dodge this. Crash and Coco don't have that, but every single character has like a shadow that you can even customize. They have the shadow, so you have to look mostly at the floor to notice where things are. I'm also looking at their character as well, so when they're going to do something, when they're going to do their slams, their super slams, their walls, etc, etc, I'm watching them. And this comes in clutch when Embryo is transforming, because when you see him transforming, he's drinking his potions, and when you see him drinking his potions, you have a time frame to hit him and cancel that drinking potions, and it's really, really useful for him not to transform and basically wipe him out before he can transform. So you guys are probably wondering, is there anything else that I should know? Well, there's these keys, the relic keys, and you can deposit those across the map where they can be deposited. And such on this map, you got the Junker Ball, and the Junker Ball is kind of like you roam around in a ball that causes a little bit more mayhem than being an average character, I guess you could say. Also in this map, a barrier comes along, and of course the barrier is a bit more expensive, but the Junker Ball is there to help out as well and balance things out. Also, in every single map there's like one super power up. So in this map there's Oxide's UFO, in the other maps there's like Aku Aku, Uka Uka, and TNT crates, and so forth. And they have like this limited time period where it goes for the enemy. It needs like 30 keys each, so you and your team needs to like stick together and deposit as many keys as you want. It depends, because I don't really like some power-ups. Like, I don't really personally like Oxide's UFO, but I do like Aku Aku and Uka Uka. Those two are my favorites. And also the Spirit Guardian. I love the Spirit Guardian. Mwah, piece of delicious cake right there. So in terms of Shinobi Psycho, you could say these are the quote-unquote ults of the map, and the other key relic stations, they could be like the quote-unquote jutsus. But you also have some powers which you get over time, and I have the Healing Fridge, which is my personal favorite. I also like Oxide, which is a big guy that conducts electricity and damages you over time if you stand near him. But it's pretty OP. I like all the powers, I like all the characters, and it is pretty a good game. You're probably watching this and thinking, oh my god, this is so fucking lame. But if you play it, I think you'll probably enjoy it, especially if you guys are a Shinobi Striker player that most of you are here for. Which hopefully, maybe, I don't know, who knows, I might make another Shinobi Striker video later, I don't know. I haven't thought about it because I really have lost interest in Shinobi Striker. I'm so sorry guys, but I really have. I've played the game for like 4 years now, and it's drained me, like physically and mentally, you know. So I really just want a new game, a refresher, and Crash Team Rumble came in clutch with this, and I'm really thankful for this game because I have been looking for something just like this, and I'm really enjoying myself. Though in my opinion, I feel like the franchise that's used here, which is Crash Bandicoot, isn't right to use here. I feel like it could have been such as Looney Tunes, but then again, I think about using Looney Tunes. Who knows Looney Tunes? Only a few like older people know Looney Tunes. Like if you mention this to a kid nowadays, they'll be like, what's Looney Tunes? Obviously Looney Tunes has tried to be a bit more modern, but let's say we can look at Sonic the Hedgehog or SpongeBob SquarePants, and these franchises are a bit more well known because they stayed consistent. And Sonic the Hedgehog, for example, he even was made in the 90s, same as Crash Bandicoot. But Sonic has been through a lot of changes, and he stayed fresh and consistent with Sonic Boom, the movie, even Sonic Prime, the new season coming out, by the way. And it's just ongoing, you know. Whilst Crash, he hasn't really done any media besides video games, if that makes sense. I don't think anything I'm saying right now is making sense to anyone because it's kind of like in my head and I just can't get it out in words, but I hope I'm making some sense to someone. Let's say again with Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes has made their fair share of merchandise as well, and they got their cartoons, they've had their game. So it's like Looney Tunes has expanded to a bit more. Whilst Crash Bandicoot, he's more well known through an older generation. I don't think it's a bad thing that older people like Crash Bandicoot. I think that's good. But I feel like the franchise used here is not... It doesn't feel right, if that makes sense. With Shinobi Striker, it feels right to have a gameplay like that because it's fighting, it's strategic, it's team-based, it's stuff like that. Crash Team Rumble, the only time I've seen Crash in a team was with like Coco and maybe at the end of the game, or Crash to Insanity where he had to team up with Cortex anyway. But it just doesn't feel right. It's always like a duo, it's never a team. But overall it's a fun game. They're going to be adding new characters, new maps, new modes, and it's going to be kind of a slow start, just like Strikers did. So I think people should give it some slack because I feel like I'm repeating history right now. Like I watched Strikers have such a terrible release day and then it slowly came back up. After these 4 years, I think Strikers probably has its biggest, highest player base now than back then. And I feel like Crash is going to be the same. When Shinobi Striker came out, people was questioning why isn't this Storm? And Crash Team Rumble is kind of the same, where people is comparing this to Crash Bash and stuff like that, and it's like it's a whole different game, it's a whole different genre. But I feel like I've waffled on a little bit too much maybe. Do check the game out if you guys haven't already. I do really recommend it and I do want to see it succeed because it's such a beautiful, well-made game. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know when that will be, maybe when Ripperoo comes out, or I could make a video about how to play Entropy because obviously in these clips they're quite older and I'm like really high up now, so it's like I know a lot more about Entropy. So it depends. I will make something up eventually. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I do apologize again for the lack of uploads. I'll try and make do and make it up to you guys really soon. And yeah, peace out.